After Amina received national recognition for empowering young women across her country, her story began to travel far beyond Nigeria. News stations shared her journey, social media spread her message of hope, and people around the world began asking one question: who is this woman changing lives with a sewing machine? What started as a small village dream was about to reach the world. One quiet morning at the Amina Skills and Hope Center, Amina sat in her small office reviewing plans for new training classes. Suddenly, her assistant rushed in with exciting news. An email had arrived from an international organization. They had been following Amina's work, and they wanted her to speak at the Global Women's Empowerment Summit in London. For a moment, Amina sat silently. A girl who once struggled to survive in the city was now invited to speak to the world. She smiled softly and said, "This opportunity belongs to every girl who believed in a better future." Days later, Amina stepped into a massive international conference hall in London. Key room was filled with leaders, entrepreneurs, and activists from many countries. Flags from around the world decorated the hall. When her name was announced, Amina walked confidently onto the stage, dressed in a beautiful African Ankara outfit that represented her roots. She took a deep breath and began to tell her story. Amina spoke from the heart. She talked about poverty. She talked about resilience. And she talked about the power of teaching skills instead of giving charity. She explained how one sewing machine could change a life and how empowering one girl could transform an entire community. When she finished speaking, the entire hall rose to their feet. A standing ovation. Her story had touched the world. After the conference, Amina was invited to a special roundtable discussion with global leaders and humanitarian organizations. They wanted to understand how her small training center had grown into a movement. Amina spoke simply and honestly. She explained that real change begins at the grassroots level. When communities invest in skills, education, and opportunity, people can lift themselves out of poverty. Her words inspired new partnerships and support. Soon, organizations around the world began reaching out. They wanted to bring Amina's model of empowerment to other countries. Plans were made to open Amina Skills and Hope Centers in different parts of Africa and even in other continents. What began in one small village was becoming a global movement. At an international humanitarian gala, Amina was invited on stage once again. This time, she received the Global Changemaker Award for Women and Youth Development. The room filled with applause. Cameras flashed as she accepted the award, but in that moment her mind traveled back to the beginning, the dusty roads, the tiny workshop, and the first girl she ever trained. Tears filled her eyes. Standing before the audience, Amina shared a powerful message. She said, "Never underestimate small beginnings. The seed planted in forgotten soil can grow into a tree that gives shade to the world." The crowd erupted in applause. Her words soon spread across international media. Amina had become more than a success story. She had become a symbol of hope. Despite the global recognition, Amina returned home to the village where it all began. One afternoon, she stood outside the training center watching young girls walk in for their classes. Some carried sewing kits, some carried books, but all carried dreams. Amina smiled. The world now knew her name, but in her heart, she was still the same village girl who refused to give up. Amina's journey proves something powerful. When you empower one girl, you can inspire the entire world. If Amina's story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the next chapter, because her journey is far from over.